Good morning, everybody. I don't hear it. Can you tell? We're going to get started with our morning's program. I want to welcome everybody to our 9th Expanding Your Horizons in Science and Mathematics. We're so glad you're here with us this morning. My name is Dr. Judith Iriarte Gross, and I'm the director of this wonderful program, and I'm so glad everybody is here. What we want to do now is have a few welcomes, and I'm going to hand over this mic to Dr. Kayleen Gebert, who is our Executive Vice President and Provost of Middle Tennessee State University. Thank you.
Good morning to each of you. And on behalf of President McPhee and all our faculty and staff and students here at MTSU, I am delighted to welcome you here. It's a crisp day, is it not? It's fall. Indeed it is. How many of you have been on our campus before? Raise your hand. That's a good number. And for some of you, you're new. And MTSU is a great institution. There's so much going on here. It is such an exciting place to be and to work. And we hope that as you spend some time on campus today, you'll get a feel of what it's like to be on a university campus, because a university has in its words universe, which means everything. So part of what you get when you come to a university in a university campus is a little bit of everything. There's all kinds of opportunities here. And part of what you're going to learn in the program today are some more things about science and learning and about living good lives that will be very helpful to you just to now as well as in your future. So we want you to think about universities and university life, because that's a really important part of being able to develop yourself as a person and give yourselves a lot of opportunities. I think today we've really focused, as Judith and her folks always do a wonderful job of keeping things kind of focused at your interest and trying to help you learn and grow. So ask questions. We want you to be involved. We want you to be excited about this program. I've seen you already. We've talked a little bit about looking through some of the things in your grab bag. Look at all the cool different things that are in there. I hadn't seen the bookmarks before that you can plant. That's good. That's an exciting kind of thing. All the time, you can be thinking about new opportunities and new ways. And the spirit of inquiry is something that is so crucial, not only to folks in science, but also to all individuals, and particularly to women, because women are good about thinking about new and different things and new and creative ways. How many of you have heard about the Katrina and the hurricane and all the things that are happening? I was listening to the radio on the way in this morning, and part of what we're finding is people who are trying to look at new ways to be involved in building houses and building communities and in using science and technology to make better communities, particularly those that have been totally devastated. So keep your eyes on what's happening in the following of Katrina. Look for the pieces of science that are in the ways that people are solving those very, very real problems. But today is a day for having fun. Today is a day for learning and meeting new people and having new experiences. So we welcome you and hope you have a great day today. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gebert. Next, I want to introduce Jenny Pack, who's going to say a few words of welcome on behalf of the Girl Scout Council of Cumberland Valley.
Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning. Hello, I'm Jenny from the Girl Scouts, and I recognize a lot of faces here, but there's some that I do not. Today we come to you in partnership with MTSU and Expanding Your Horizons, hopefully to get some more girls excited about math and science careers in their future. I know you're a little young to be thinking about it, but Nevertheless, it is time that you start realizing your potential if you do have a desire in these careers. But I just wanted to say hello, and for those of you that are not Girl Scouts, look around. There could be a Girl Scout sitting right next to you. If you do have an interest, then you can talk to them about joining a troop in your area, or you could always give me a call. And I want you guys to have a great day and get excited, okay?
Next, I want you to welcome Marty Foster, who's representing the American Association of University Women, the Murfreesboro branch, who again is one of our partners.
Thank you. I'm so glad to see so many of you here today. AUW, American Association of University Women, has been working for education for women and girls for many, many years. And I'm just so excited to see so many of you here today. I know you're going to have a wonderful time today. It's going to be very exciting, and I'll let you get to it. Thank you.
And now I want to invite all of our WISE women to come down front. We have a rather new student organization on the MTSU campus called WISE, Women in Science and Engineering, and they are going to come down front and say a few words of welcome to you. Because when you come to MTSU, you can become a WISE woman.
Hi, girls. My name is Caroline Bishop. I am not the president of WISE. Our president isn't quite here yet, so I'm going to give you just a little brief welcome, even though I'm unprepared. Some of you might remember me if you were here last year. We did the cosmetic chemistry workshop where we made bath bombs. Anybody? But we're doing that again today, this afternoon. So I hope to see you in my workshop, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if I don't see you, I know you guys are going to have fun, whatever you're doing today. So.
Thank you. And if you need information about WISE, you know who to look for now. And now I want to introduce Jennifer Ilsley, who has been with EYH since she was in 5th grade. She's now in 11th grade, and she's going to introduce our keynote speaker.
Our keynote speaker today is Dr. Elise Albert, and she is an astronomer and has taught at the U.S. Naval Academy for many years, and she is going to talk to you guys today about following your star. So please help me welcome Dr. Elise Albert.
Can everybody hear? Okay, thank you, Jennifer. And good morning, everyone. I'm really excited about this conference because I am a woman who loves science, and this is the biggest gathering of women with similar interests that I've ever been in. I think you guys are a wonderful group, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. Now, since I had to miss teaching my regular Friday class to come here, I thought I'd start giving you all a pop quiz. There's 6 multiple choice questions. You know how this works. So I'm going to read the questions aloud and then the possible answers. And I want you guys to just shout out what you think is the right answer. And I think I'll be able to sort out some of the different things that I hear. So is everybody ready? Okay, let's go. Okay, this is question number 1. The first and so far only space shuttle to fly after the Columbia tragedy was commanded by Steve Robinson, Jim Kelly, Andy Thomas, Charlie Camerda, or Eileen Collins. What do you think? Okay, I hear a little bit of everything, but I think I heard mostly Eileen Collins. And not only did Eileen Collins command the last space shuttle, but she was actually the very first woman to ever pilot a space shuttle. Her degrees are in math, economics, and space operations, and she rose to the rank of colonel in the United States Air Force. She has flown for over 6,700 hours, and over 800 of those have been in space. Now that's a real career for you. Okay, question number 2. Who invented the first disposable cell phone and the super thin technology that made it possible? Was it Martin Cooper, Richard Dronsooth, Albert Mikulski, Charles Link Jr., or Randy Altshuler? Richard Dronsooth. Okay, I hear one idea. Other ideas? Okay, a lot of ideas. This is a tough one. The answer is Randy Altshuler. In 1999, she got the first patent. In fact, she got 6 patents for the world's first disposable cell phone that she called the phone card phone. She got the idea when she was driving down the road talking on the cell phone or trying to talk on her cell phone, and she couldn't get a good connection. She was so frustrated that she wanted to just toss the thing out the window, but she realized it was too expensive to just throw away. So she thought, I need a cell phone I can just throw away when I need to. So even though she didn't have much background in electronics, she had a real attitude of conceive it, believe it, achieve it. And she did. Okay, ready for the next question? One of the first software engineers and the inventor of the compiler. This person also served as an admiral in the United States Navy. Was it John Ryan, Chester Nimitz, William Halsey, William Leahy, Grace Murray Hopper? Okay, great guys. Are you catching on to the pattern here? You know, that's one thing scientists do. You look for patterns, and you're right. Grace Hopper. Grace Hopper got her PhD in mathematics, and she was a professor at Vassar College when she quit her job to join the Naval Reserves during World War II and help her country. She was assigned to some of the very first computing machines. They didn't even call them computers back then. And she soon realized that the computer would never make it, would never be popular unless it was more friendly, more user-friendly. And so she invented the compiler to translate the language that we're using to the computer language. In fact, that was so popular and famous that in 1969, she received the first ever Computer Science Man of the Year award. Isn't that something? Okay, next question. Of the 770 people who have won Nobel Prizes, only 4 have ever been awarded the prize twice. One of these remarkable people is Albert Einstein, John Steinbeck, Alexander Fleming, Albert Schweitzer, Marie Curie. Okay, great guys. And did any of you notice there's a button in your gift bag that says this? The girls I was with found that. And Marie Curie is one of the most famous physicists ever. In 1903, she was awarded the Nobel Prize jointly with her husband Pierre and Henri Becquerel for the discovery of radioactivity. Then her husband died in an accident shortly thereafter. She was left with 2 young daughters to raise, and she continued her work as a physicist, and then alone received the Nobel Prize again in 1911 in chemistry for isolating pure radium. Marie's contributions to science were immense, and unfortunately she eventually died from leukemia that was caused by the radiation she was studying. 5th question. When the Brooklyn Bridge was completed in 1883, and if any of you have ever been to New York City, this is a very famous bridge, it was hailed as the 8th wonder of the world. A plaque still there today lists the engineers who built it And the first name on that plaque is Leon Wassif, Eugene Fig, Gustav Lindenthal, Joseph Strauss, Emily Warren Roebling. Who do you think? Okay, I heard mostly Emily Roebling. And yes, she was a talented engineer. She studied underwater construction, metallurgy, and bridge building in the mid-1800s. Isn't that amazing? Her father-in-law was the first chief engineer for the Brooklyn Bridge, but he died. Then her husband took over, but he was paralyzed from diving into the river to help put up the supports for the bridge. So Emily took over. And for 11 years, she was the chief engineer and worked on every aspect of the Brooklyn Bridge project, one of the greatest engineering feats of the 19th century. And last question. The cotton gin. The cotton gin is credited with revolutionizing the economy of colonial America. Who invented the cotton gin? Well, your choices: Cyrus McCormick, Elias Howe, Thomas Jefferson, Eli Whitney, and Catherine Littlefield Greene. There actually is a great deal of debate about this, so this is not completely decided yet. But people now believe that Catherine Littlefield Greene should be given at least joint credit with Eli Whitney. Ever heard of her? Most people haven't. Eli Whitney lived on Katie Greene's plantation, and she, by all accounts, was a very intelligent and talented woman. She hired Eli Whitney as her handyman, and she was a widow trying to raise her family by herself, and she was doing her best to think of creative ways to make her plantation profitable. It was really hard. So now most people believe that she should be given the credit for at least a significant part of the invention of the cotton gin. And incidentally, she is my 8 times great-great-grandmother. And I had no idea that she was an inventor until I started to research this talk. There's a lot of hidden talent out there that we don't all know about. So, Katie Greene, Emily Roebling, Marie Curie, Grace Hopper, Randy Altshuler, Eileen Collins. What do these people all have in common? Okay, they're all women. That's the first answer. What else? Okay, they're scientists or engineers or mathematicians or inventors. And there's one other thing they have in common. Were they interested in what they were doing, or was it ho-hum boring? Okay, they were really excited about what they were doing. They found something that grabbed their interest, that challenged them, that they got passionate about. They were following their own star. And that's the theme I'd like to leave you with today. They were following their own star. Now, for me, following my own star has literally led to the stars. And my love of astronomy actually began in 2nd grade, and I'm still just as excited about it today. In 2nd grade, my teacher, Mrs. Fetter, showed us pictures of the planets. And I was just amazed. Will we ever land on the moon? What are Saturn's rings made of? What are the moons of Jupiter really like? You know, I wanted to know. Well, today we've answered some of these questions. We've landed on the moon 6 times. We have sent space probes to all of the planets except for Pluto. We're amazed by close-up looks of Jupiter and its 4 moons. Of the 2 moons in the top, the one on the left, Io, has a molten surface. The one on the right has a frozen water surface, Europa. And underneath that frozen water, there may be spots that are warm enough to actually support some kind of life. And we've looked at Saturn close up, those beautiful rings. There are really thousands of rings around Saturn. And they were probably created by the collision of some old asteroid with one of Saturn's original moons. In fact, we know now that rings are common in the solar system. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all ringed planets. Well, scientists wouldn't have even begun to guess those discoveries when I was in 2nd grade. Now, soon after, my grandmother gave me a lovely little book about the constellations. And I became interested in the stars as well. Does anybody recognize these constellations? There's a handsome hero on the left, Orion, and there's an object there on the right. You've got Orion and the Big Dipper. So I started to read about stars and then galaxies as well. In middle school and high school, I remember reading about newly discovered quasars, which are the most powerful sources in the whole universe, more powerful than 1 trillion suns. And no one had any idea what they were. In fact, for several years when I first started being a professor at the Naval Academy, we had no idea what quasars really were. Now, the Hubble Space Telescope has answered that question. And quasars are the centers of very distant galaxies. And quasars turn on when a big supermassive black hole forms in the center of the galaxy and starts to feed on some of the gas and dust that's orbiting around it. And as the black hole swallows up that gas and dust, it emits intense radiation, 1 trillion times what our sun gives off. And that's a quasar. But scientists wouldn't have even guessed anything about quasars when I was in middle school. Then, as I continued to grow up, my interest in astronomy grew also. And in college, I was surprised to find that my enthusiasm for astronomy widened into getting excited about physics and math as well. Physics is the foundation that explains the big principles that describe how our world works. And math is an amazing tool that enables us to predict, for example, where our astronauts will land on Mars to within 1 centimeter and 1 second. And that will happen in your lifetime. I discovered, and I hope that you will too, that physics and math are elegant and beautiful, and they help us to understand this gorgeous hurly-burly that is the universe out there. Then, going on to graduate school is a time to really focus, to come up with a particular topic that really interests you and that you can explore in depth. And I became excited about our home galaxy, the Milky Way. And I started to study big fountains of gas that spurt upward from the disk of our galaxy when huge, massive stars die in big supernova explosions. And this gas explodes up, cools, condenses, rains back down on top of our heads. And when that gas rains down on us, it may hit something like the Orion Nebula in Orion's sword. And when that's hit by a big cloud of gas, it will compress and form new stars. And these are new stars that have been observed by the Hubble Space Telescope. They're surrounded by dusty disks. That white is dust. And inside that dust, new planets may be forming. Then, going on, observing, trying to figure out some of these answers yourself is a lot of fun in astronomy. And I've had some great trips to McDonald Observatory in Fort Davis, Texas, which is where I did my dissertation. That's a big reflecting telescope that's almost 3 meters in diameter. And Yerkes Observatory, which was my home base in Williams Bay, Wisconsin, that's the largest refracting telescope in the world. That thing weighs 19 tons, but I can push it around with my hand, not because I'm so strong, but because it's so beautifully constructed and balanced. That was lots of fun to use. It was also in grad school that I began to teach, and I discovered a new passion, which is sharing my excitement for astronomy with other people. And I'm very fortunate now to have a career that enables me to do the two things that I love, which is research and teaching. So continuing to explore our galaxy, I've gone to the Canada-France-Hawaii telescope, which is on top of Mauna Kea, 14,000 feet up in Hawaii. That's an amazing place. And then in the southern hemisphere to Chile. Cerro Tololo Inter-American Observatory, which is joint between the United States and Chile, in the Andes Mountains. And closer to home, the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, which is in Green Bank, West Virginia. So teaching allows me to share what I learn in my own research with my students, and also to keep up with other fields. It's fun to have an excuse. Oh, my students need to know about this, so I can sit and catch up with the latest magazines and the latest things in astronomy. Some of the really neat things that my students and I have been learning about lately are shown in this little movie that I'd like to share with you. This is from the Hubble Space Telescope.
Discovery, go for Hubble release.
The first of NASA's great observatories is now on station at 330 nautical miles above the Earth.
Thank you very much for the ride.
Isn't the universe an amazing place? I hope some of you are getting excited about astronomy too. So to me, teaching and research in astronomy is really a dream come true. But I had no idea that my dream would eventually lead me to the United States Naval Academy. And the Naval Academy, of course, is the service academy that prepares young men and women for careers as officers in the U.S. Navy or the Marine Corps. And the midshipmen are actually active duty naval officers. They attend the academy for 4 years, and they graduate with Bachelor of Science degrees and commissions as reserve officers in either the Naval Reserve or as Marine Corps officers. Now, all service assignments except for some subs and special operations, are open to women. Women can serve in combat, women can drive ships, they can fly planes, they can drive cruisers, destroyers, aircraft carriers, and they can serve in specialties such as oceanography, intelligence, supply, or civil engineering. There are a little over 4,000 midshipmen in the Brigade of Midshipmen, and 22% of them are minorities, 16% of them are women, and we are looking for more women and minorities all the time. An academy education costs about $276,000, but the midshipmen pay only $2,200. And that's for the startup costs of their uniform and a PC. And midshipmen receive a salary throughout their 4 years at the Naval Academy. As in other colleges, midshipmen can major in many different subjects, and those subjects include some humanities as well as mostly sciences and engineering and technical fields. And graduates of the Naval Academy have been some very famous people. There are, of course, military and government officials, but also 2 Nobel Prize winners came from the Academy, 51 astronauts, and dozens of prestigious Rhodes and Marshall scholars. Now, as you can imagine, physical fitness is important at the Academy, too. And here was our list of majors, and in addition, midshipmen have to go through rigorous physical training, and they take either PE classes or sports every day, but most of them love doing that. And then during the summers, they get out on ships and airplanes and learn what it's really like out in the fleet, and learn what the responsibilities of junior officers are going to be like. Here are some of their other activities. And as a group, midshipmen are some of the most focused people that I know. Most of them are focused on interests in science, engineering, or technology. They're passionate about those interests, but they're also passionate about serving their country. And they do face great challenges,